Bonjour everybody, how's it going? Screezilla here and I hope you're all well. And you join me today for a round, well, 2 rounds of World of Warships as we explore Le Francais destroyers. Yes, French destroyers are in the game and active for everybody to start. Damn you, desk. For everybody to start playing with. And they're very, very different. Now, French destroyers have one thing missing from normal destroyer tech tree. And, well, I wonder if you could notice it. We have HE shells, okay, that's normal. We have AP shells, that's normal. Torpedoes, repair party, speed boost, and that's it. Yes. French destroyers lack smoke screens. Oh boy, does this make the boat interesting, especially when you're fighting planes. The French destroyers, if they were added a year or two ago, would have probably been pretty okay, actually. They probably would have been relatively capable. But with planes in the game, the French destroyers are rather gimped, to say the least. Now, that's not to say that they're bad, because they're not. They can be extremely effective. Now, these are both PvP battles I'm playing in, rather than PvE, because I was just really wanting to test out and get some footage of the ships. But, boy did I have some fun. I actually had the most fun I've had in a long time playing any game. And these French destroyers just bring a smile to my face. They are so different to a normal destroyer. You have to push. You really have to be aggressive in it. There's no defensive play. There's nothing you can do. You can't hold back. You have to just charge in there and attack full blast. You have to plan out a route that you think the enemy won't be taking. So I'm coming around the islands here. So as you can see, I'm sort of going to be skirting around this way. And I'm hoping to use this island as cover to try and sneak around the back and start hitting these battleships. However, obviously, the enemy Langley has spotted me. And is now going to be harassing me for the rest of the game. Which is going to be very irritating. So, I'm getting my anti-aircraft guns set and ready, and luckily we get some good misses, so we're not being hit, so we're managing just to avoid being hit. And then that's when a Kawachi appears. Ah. This is not so good. There is a Kawachi at 8 kilometers distance. I'm in a destroyer, he's in a battleship. And I have aircraft constantly spotting me. This could be bad. This could be very, very bad indeed. Now, I just want to talk to you about the AI in World of Warships, because the AI in World of Warships isn't actually bad. It's pretty damn effective, actually. It's not like in other games where the AI tend to just blunder off and just do stupid things. The AI tend to act a little bit more like players, and just took a full HE shell to the front of my ship there, and you can just see the damage that's been caused. So, it's a battleship, so it's not going to be very manoeuvrable. So, full salvo of torpedoes out, and we want to try and set him on fire. That's the best thing we can do at the moment, is set him on fire, just so he uses his ability, but, well, no need. We blew the ship out the water. That was a absolute devastating strike with a full torpedo blast. 4 torpedoes hit, and, well, that was the end of the ship. That was an easy 32,000 damage. So now I've just got these blasted planes annoying me. And these are just going to keep me spotted. And this is problematic for me because, well, I'm a destroyer. I need to be sneaky. And I can't use smoke to hide. I can't just smoke up and sit in the smoke and just go, oh, well, I'm safe now. No, I have to keep moving. I have to be on the move. Now, one of the things the French ships do have are good guns. So the gun ability on these ships are absolutely fantastic. The AP shell and the HE shell, especially on these 130mm guns, are pretty damn devastating, and they really do some good damage. The ship is relatively easy to play if you know what you're doing. It's, as I said, you've got to play it like a aggressive destroyer rather than a sort of destroyer that sits back a little bit and enjoys smoke. You've got to charge in there. Your torpedoes only have about a 7.5 km distance on them, but your guns are very good. They've got really good RNG. Their dispersion is not bad at all, and they're relatively decent muzzle velocity as well, so you can really get some hits landing on target. So we have found that bloody aircraft carrier, and now it's time to start punishing it. Now we've got enemy planes all over us still, but that doesn't matter. We're just going to keep pummeling this bloody Langley until it's sinking. That's it. I'm not happy until this thing is sunk. So we are going to absolutely obliterate this thing, and we'll put as much fire as possible on it with all of our guns. And as you can see here, we're doing relatively good damage. The penetration value of these guns is relatively decent. You generally get penetrations. I found both with the few games I've played in this ship, it's had relatively decent penetration rate. Yes, I've mainly been fighting things like battleships and aircraft carriers, so saying that is a good thing. As long as you aim for the superstructure and not going for armoured belts and things like that, you don't get too many shatters. So we've still got the planes above us. We've managed to shoot down 2 of them, and I'm furiously trying to set fire to this bloody ship's deck, just so it can't send any other planes my way. And of course, while I'm doing this, I'm causing damage to it all the time. I use my engine boost here so I can catch up to it, and just keeping an eye on where everything else is going. So we're sort of winning at the moment, which is a good thing. Our team's in the lead, so we've got a few ships left, and they're running out of ships now very, very quickly, especially as this Langley is in torpedo range for me. So torps are free, and they're not the fastest torpedoes in the world, but they're relatively good. They do the job. You just got to know when to launch them. I've had a few mishaps where I've just forgotten to launch them in time, but that is the end of that Langley. So 6 torpedoes, 2 kills, 66,000 damage, as well as a few planes shot down. So our anti-aircraft gunners are busy firing away. Now our team are currently trying to hunt down a enemy destroyer, cruiser, and there's 2 battleships. So there's a Corvair over there, and obviously the Königsberg as well is there. I think it's a Königsberg. Our aircraft carrier is in a lot of trouble because there is now a destroyer and a battleship right behind it. However, they're also capping our point, so we've got to be careful of that. So luckily we're finally out of aircraft range for a couple of moments. Doesn't last long. Our meagre amount of anti-aircraft launches into the sky once more. I think it's 2 37mm and then a few 3.5mm guns. So nothing major in the anti-air department, but we did manage to shoot down 5 planes, so that is something. Now, we've got the Corvair over there, so that's going to be a main target. The Langley has managed to take down the enemy Brosk, or Baroque, I should say. So we're now ahead on ships. And we're even more ahead on ships as the Myogi takes down the Kolberg. So we've got 4 ships to 2. Things are looking relatively good now. This should be an easy victory. But we've got to make sure this Colbert doesn't get to our cap point, and of course the aircraft carrier I think is gonna be sinking relatively soon, so that's going to be problematic. Now, what are we going to do with the attack on this Colbert? Now, the guns are not facing our way, and we know that there are enemy battleships in front of it, so we're just going to charge into the side. Now, it looks like this guy started turning once he noticed us, and he's actually going to beach himself, and that's going to work in my favour quite a bit. So, of course, we're getting a few non-penetrations here as we hit the gun turrets casings, and of course, you're not going to penetrate them with these shells. They're not built for that kind of penetration. But it's time for us to come around on the side of this guy. So we know his guns aren't going to be facing us, but there are secondaries we've got to worry about. So we're just going to fire into the superstructure, and we're getting a few good hits. Ideally we want to set a fire, which we have, and he's put it out immediately. So with our torpedoes, they're now going to land, and this is going to be an instant kill. No way he's going to survive all of those torpedoes. Kaboom. That is the end of another battleship. So 2 battleships and an aircraft carrier on my kill list. I'm pretty chuffed with that. Now, there's one enemy battleship left. Now, the Langley looks like it's about to go down. So we've got 2 ways of attacking this. We could go frontally and sort of go with the same course as the Nassau here, which would probably be sort of suicidal for us. So I'm actually going to go around the other side of the island. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a speed boost with me here. If I did, I think I would have been in a much better position. So tactically, maybe I shouldn't have wasted a speed boost earlier on in the game. But we'll keep a couple of shots out in the air, and we've managed to get a hit, so that lowers the cap point, so stops him capping us. And we're going to come around the other side of the island and try and get behind him, basically. That's the whole... That's the idea of this match. So we're going to try and sneak behind him. So far, we've done 93,000 damage. So not a bad number there. A pretty decent amount. And a pretty fun game so far. So this Mayogi is charging down on the Nassau, and we're going to come out of cover any minute now, and we're going to start firing away. So now we're in perfect position to start firing off our guns. And the full broadside of these French destroyers can be absolutely devastating for withering fire. But you've got to start hitting the superstructure of these carriers. Sorry, these battleships even. Words, brain. There we go, a couple of good penetrations. Not huge damage numbers, of course, but we're getting the penetrations we need. Just into that superstructure, just helping our damage figures go up. Every hit's a couple of 100 points of damage. And we've got the chance of setting some fires as well. It's just got us above the 95 mark, and this Mayogi does not look like it's going to be lasting much longer. Last salvo out. We get a hit, but not enough. That's the end. So let's head to the post-battle screen results. So the post-battle screen results, as you can see, 95,000 damage and a nice haul of 77,000 credits, 1,600 research points and 533 free research. And you can also see like the amount of hits we had to sort of non-penetrations is actually very high on this ship. It's something I was quite impressed about. You do tend to get a lot of pens, and honestly, with the captain, I would work towards the inertia fused high explosive shells for this boat, because yeah, I think those things are going to be absolutely mega if you can get it. So let's head on to our next battle in the Jaguar. And here we are in the Jaguar, the tier 5 destroyer. And this is very much the sort of counter-to-Pierre class destroyer that the French are known for. The French and the Italians, one should say. These sort of these ships were basically a let's go with a pissing contest by Italy and France for building the fastest, biggest destroyers. Their purpose was to actually hunt light cruisers. They were designed to be able to take on a light cruiser in combat. Not sure how well it would work. It didn't prove very successful, but they're still interesting, very cool ships. The main thing that these ships rely on is speed. They may not be the fastest ships there are, but they're relatively nippy. They're not slow by any means, but they're not the fastest destroyers you'll find out there, which is kind of makes sense because of their size. These are more of a very, very light cruiser than a very, very sort of destroyer-y destroyer. So, this is the upgrade. And the Jaguar has an extra gun, still has the 130mm guns. Same sort of torpedo systems, really not much different over its predecessor, but it is a lot bigger, of course. It does have a little bit better anti-aircraft guns as well, in the fact that it has a couple of, it's got a couple of 75mm anti-aircraft guns, and a few more 13.5mm. So we're just going to unload on this Omaha here, and we've also got this enemy Jaguar coming in, so our enemy counterpart there, and we'll send in a few rounds on him, none hitting. So our main goal here is really to try and outflank the enemy, and personally that's my playstyle for these French destroyers, is just generally trying to get behind islands, using the terrain to be coverage, because you want to be able to sneak, and you can't sneak the old-fashioned way with smoke screens, so you've got to do it via islands and surprise torpedoes like this. Now of course this Omaha here is probably just gone, well, that's not good, that's a lot of torpedoes heading my way, and has just been extremely blown up. And we're going to launch some on the Jaguar here as well. So they're not really changing course quick enough. It looks like one's going to hit. Yep, we've got one hit, some flooding on the Jaguar. And now we've got to get our guns out. But of course, they have torpedoes too. So we've got to make sure we don't get caught by their torpedoes. So that's two very quick, easy kills. And moving around a little bit, torpedoes, not really there. So good early work from us. We've taken down two ships pretty much straight away, and two relatively good ships as well. Now though, we've got to start fighting the battleships, and this is where it's going to be hard, because, well, we don't really have the guns for battleships. We're better at fighting those sort of light cruisers and destroyers, but you're not always going to get that chance. So when you're facing the battleships, you've really got to try and get that range and try and get those shells landing on the deck and getting through that deck armor or just causing damage there. Now we've got a Svetlana there, and that's going to be quite a juicy target for us to attack. Now we're trying to get around on this Congo to get some torpedoes away, because it looks like it could possibly be a nice easy kill for us, or at least an easy torpedo absorber. So we'll try our best on that one. We'll launch torpedoes out just in hopes that he carries on the same course. Chances are he's not though, and we're just going to start aiming for that superstructure. And two non-penetrations and two penetrations, that's not too bad. A few penetrations there, and this is where the damage starts building up. These guns are very quick firing and have a relatively decent range, if not the best range in game. You know, they're not a cruiser range distance, they're not a just, you know, battleship range distance. And we get one relatively good torpedo hit there, and we get a second, so that's not too bad. A couple more torpedo hits to add to the collection, but unfortunately I think one went into the torpedo belt of the Congo, so just a little bit less damage there, and it looks like the flooding was immediately fixed. One of the big things I found for these French ships is they do lack, well, they do lack the fire ability. It's very hard to set a fire on an enemy ship, I found, with these things. They're very... the HE shells tend to hit pretty well, but they don't set fires. And I feel that probably should change, just to try and help balance the French ships a little bit more. And I'm about to do a Jingles beach here. Tactical beaching, just so we can keep firing on this Congo. Give it a chance to shoot at us as well. Oof, not too painful. It could have been a lot worse. But this gives us a chance to talk a little bit about the way the health points work on the French destroyers. Normally, sort of the health points are relatively across the whole ship. With the French destroyers, apparently, they're sort of in certain sectors, and they're distributed a little bit more evenly. So you can sort of get a few more... you can take a few big hits and survive, basically. It adds to that survivability of the ship. So we finally set a fire. The second fire of the game, mind you. We fire a few shots on the Congo. Will it be the fire that kills it? It's very close. Oh, there's some AP shots coming in from the enemy Congo, and that's it. Let's just head to the post-battle screen results. So a total of 78,500 damage, which netted us 119,000 credits, 2,200 research points, and 722 free RP, which is nice. We had a fair few hits on target, quite a few shatters and non-penetrations this time though. The torpedo hits went well, and really everything went well. As I was saying, these ships really are very fun to play. They're just such a different play style. You have to get really used to them, but I find them really quite satisfying, and I'm really enjoying the French destroyer line because it is just something so very different. Just looking at the team score here, you can see we just got top of the team relatively easily with those 2 kills, and just that huge amount of damage that we managed, which is always nice to see. Anyway, I'm going to end the video here, so I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, let me know below, comment, subscribe, that usual thing, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.